All right, everybody, welcome in another edition of Inside LSU Women's Basketball. Mike Scarborough here with Emily Ward, and postseason play is here, and we're about to. I kept hitting refresh. We're gonna see if we can get some scores on Alabama, Florida, and of course LSU will play the winner of that game tomorrow night at 7:30 in Greenville, and we'll see if LSU can get some revenge a week later without Flau'jae Johnson. Might be a tall order, but the fact that Alabama's got to play tonight might work in their favor. And maybe you can get Day Wilson or Miracle Shepherd or KG or somebody hot tomorrow night to offset the not having Flau'jae with her shin splints and keeping her out and letting her try to get over that and work through therapy and all that stuff. But Emily, welcome in. What's your thoughts on where this team is going into postseason play after two straight losses?
Yeah, two straight losses is hard, especially at the end of the season. I feel like the past few weeks we've just talked about how difficult SEC is right now, and everyone's ranked, and you just have they had a hard ending schedule. So definitely not the outcome that LSU wanted, especially because it was senior night. That just hits home, but you got through it. You don't have an injury besides Flau'jae, but I know Flau'jae was just on the safer side. But at least you don't have like a serious injury, especially because Flau'jae will be back for NCAA. So you got through the season. You got the double bye for the SEC tournament, so you get the 2 rest days. Like you said, Alabama is playing tonight, and then they will have to turn around and play tomorrow. So I definitely think we can use that to our advantage because it is SEC. The SEC season is hard because you play all these teams. SEC tournament's hard because you're playing the same teams on back-to-back nights, and you just keep going until you lose, pretty much, unless you win it all. But I mean, anything can happen in the SEC tournament. Teams can go on a roll. I know Kim's first season, Kentucky went on a roll. They beat us and Tennessee, then South Carolina. So like top 3 seeds all on back-to-back nights. So anything can happen in the tournament.
Absolutely. It's have you ever had shin splints? I've never had them, but I had friends who ran cross country in high school, and they suffered with them, and it was not fun.
Yeah,
It, it,
I've never technically had them, but there are points where your shins do hurt, not just very minor, but they are a killer. It's hard, especially when you're playing sports and running all the time
but
and
now that I
cutting and
think about it,
changing.
but now that I'm thinking about it, that is kind of a rare thing in basketball, though, isn't it?
Mhm. Yeah, you see more of the knee and more of the knees and kind of ankles. But I think just running on hard court, running a lot, and Flau'jae runs everywhere. I mean, I guess so does all the other players, but especially Flau'jae. They're hard. Once you have them, you have them until you recover and do the right recovery techniques and everything.
Absolutely. All right, LSU fans, we're going to be here for a while. Hit us with your questions or comments. If you're enjoying the show, hit that like button. I tell you what, I'm really excited about and proud of this show that Emily and I started doing. I guess this is maybe our 5th or 6th episode. Maybe we've done, and it keeps growing each week, and we've had a lot of fun doing it. And I think we're going to have some fun all the way through postseason play. I put up a poll earlier this week, a new poll on TigerBait.com on the front page. After the end of the regular season, about how, and the question was, how far will the LSU women's basketball team go in the NCAA tournament? And the answers that you could reply to were second round, Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four, national champions with an exclamation point. 31% say Sweet 16, Elite 8, 29%. So that's, right at over 60% feel Sweet 16, Elite 8.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had 14% at Final Four, 10% say national champions. But you had 17% the second round. So I think that's kind of about, I'm not going to say where you've been, but I've kind of thought Sweet 16, maybe Elite 8, if healthy and someone gets hot and you get a good draw.
Yeah, I think the tournament, it depends on a lot of things. Everyone's healthy. the draw plays a big part in it, and where you're placed too. I know we talked about in the last episode, whether you're in Birmingham or all the way across the country, that does play a big part.
LSU's
I
heading
mean,
to Spokane now. I think they're absolutely
oh, are
after the
they?
2 losses. I think they are. I think they're going out west. I mean, aren't you going to be shocked if they end up in Birmingham?
Yeah, I
If they
think
end in that bracket?
But I mean, I don't know. I feel like women's basketball, there's a lot of good teams. Everyone's kind of beating everyone. Um, so like we said, it kind of just depends on the draw. I know like last year with the Iowa playing LSU in the Elite Eight game, like that could have easily been a championship or Final Four game. But there's so many good teams that you can probably say that all the way around the clock. So I think it depends. I don't think they'll go home in the second round. At least I hope not. I hope they can. I mean, but also like Tennessee might be projected as a fourth person, or not a fourth, like a 5-person or 5-team. So it kind of just depends on who gets in their draw. I think they'll definitely make it to at least the Sweet 16 though. Hopefully the Final Four, but I think definitely the Sweet 16 and Elite Eight, like
Well,
that round of games.
and I brought it up with you almost every week, and I keep, because of where I think this team falls, I keep hearkening back to year one, and you were on that team, year one under Kim, and as far as the similarities as to how good this team is, and you know that Ohio State team that did beat LSU in the second round was a good team.
Yeah.
But LSU could have won that game. But that was a tough draw. I think that was a draw.
Yeah.
And Ohio State's proven to be consistent all these years since.
Yeah, I want to say Ohio State went to the Elite Eight that year. I think maybe it was just a Sweet. I think it was the Elite Eight. Yeah, they were good. They were a great team. I know Kateri Poole was on that team that ended up playing with us the next year. But then also Alexis Morris got hurt right before tournament play, so we lost out on one of our starters. So just depends. There a lot of stuff has to go right to win it.
Yes. All right, let's dive in. We get a Go Tigers from Christopher Slim. Thank you for that. Gary Bassinger says shin splints hurt like heck. Or he says hurt like the devil. Sweet 16 if get Johnson back, says Christopher Slim. And yeah, the draw does matter. And he adds, we got to get Emily a cooler picture and Mike a picture at all.
This is my grandmother's picture, so don't talk crap about it, okay? Thank
exactly.
you.
She's in her grandmother's house. And I was marveling at the really nice old wood floors in that house too before we went live. And we were also talking about our love for the Peacock show Traders and how the finale's tonight. She's 2 weeks behind, so no spoilers.
One spoil it. No one.
Yeah,
or
no
don't show me the
spoilers.
comments at least.
Yeah, yes.
But yeah, I think Flau'jae will, according to Kim, what she said in the press conference, she'll be back for NCAA. They're going to keep her resting for SEC tournament this week, and then she'll have half of the month of March, or the rest of March until they start playing to heal. So shin splints is something like it's not going to get better until you rest and recover, and that's what Kim knows, and she said in the press conference. So I think that this time that she has will heal her. So I think she'll be back. And Flau'jae is also tough, so she can play through it if she needs to.
I just want to add, I think a lot of grandmas probably do have a mint green paint scheme too.
Okay, well the mint green was mine actually. So this is my childhood room, which it looks a lot greener, but it is like a blue. It's my childhood room.
Is that your old bead? Oh, is that your old beads as well?
Yeah, like this is my anything is possible with a bunch of necklaces. And I have not worn any of those necklaces in 6 years because they're still here.
That's awesome.
But yeah,
don't ever let that go. You'll want that one day.
I know. So yeah, my grandmother just lives in my childhood room now, so that's where I am. I'm at home in Beaujeu right now for work.
That's awesome. Michael Pinnell, this team's wheels fell off before the 23 teams did. The 23 team collapsed in the SEC tournament against Tennessee. All the issues Kim kept saying we're going to get them beat did. They'll pull it together.
I think when we lost to Tennessee that year, we learned a very important lesson that we needed to learn. One, that we can get beat because the only team we had lost to that year was South Carolina. Two, keep playing until the final whistle was called because we were up by 17 at halftime and they came back and beat us, which we ended up being. We were up by 17 against Iowa in the championship, and so we knew we were like, we're not letting this happen again. We're not repeating this. Like this is for the championship. So we definitely learned our lessons. So hopefully, them losing to Ole Miss and Alabama, they kind of learn lessons from that and continue on and keep getting better as the season gets into tournament play.
I see parallels with the 22 team, and that's why I keep bringing it up every week. But you brought up something about that team a week or two ago about how that team was fun. That team had a huge fun factor. Sometimes I think this team is missing that fun factor a bit, and I can't put my finger on it.
I think it's different because I was a player, and so I know, and like that was Kayla Pointer, Cherry, Foss, Autumn Newby, like Awa, Trossi. We all played for Nikki, and so then we turned around and played for Kim. So
and you're all of a sudden winning big and had big crowds, and you were doing things, and it was new to everybody, and the Mulkey in her outfits thing. Everything was new. That's why.
Yeah. And I want to. Everyone was always like, the year before Mulkey got there, we only had 9 wins, which was true. But then if you go back and look at all of the scores, every game was like 2 or 3 points. Like we didn't lose by a lot. I mean, it was still a loss, but I think we were a lot better than our record showed. But like you said, it was so new to everyone, the big crowd, and that was COVID year too. So no one was in the stands because they really couldn't be. So it was just totally different, like culture shock kind of.
Yes. Her alone with a super chat. Thank you for that. Hello. Honest answer, please. Is Thomas Lean the best person for the strength and conditioning role? Whose bodies has he changed? Too many high school kids for his development. Look, I'll let Emily answer that, but look, there's a big difference in the genetic makeup of what you can see in the strength and conditioning of a football player versus a female basketball player.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, it's just the difference between the genders of the sport.
I had 2 strength and conditioning coaches at LSU. We had Chris White with Nikki, and he was there for 1 year of Kim, and then we had Thomas. And they had 2 totally different, not 2 totally different philosophies, but like Chris and I thought both of them were perfect. Like we're great. They taught me so much differently. Chris, the one Nikki and a little bit of Kim, he was more like, okay, we're gonna focus on like the metrics and the measurements and like how high you can jump, and then we're gonna go off of that based on like we're gonna take your sets based on how fast you're lifting. Like he used a lot of the numbers and calculations for our weights, where Thomas just kind of he knew when to push us and when not to, and he didn't rely so much on the how fast we were lifting or the weights we were lifting. I think both of them did a fantastic job at easing up on us when we needed to be eased up. Like they probably did a good amount of weights this week because they had a longer break. But during SEC play, during the tournament, I mean, you're really just in there stretching. You're doing some weights, but it's maybe like 20 minutes of weights. And it's just, I mean, same with conditioning. Like we didn't really condition with both, like with either of them, just because Mulkey makes us condition herself. So we didn't need to do that extra one. But I mean, I love Thomas. He's a great person too.
Yeah. My point is, it's not like they're going to say, "Boy, look at the guns on Emily since her freshman year," right? It's that doesn't materialize.
Yeah.
I think probably the important thing for y'all is it's got to be variety. You got to be able to switch it up. You don't, as a strength and conditioning coach, you don't want the players to arrive on Thursday full well knowing, okay, this is what we're doing because it's Thursday. Sometimes you have to have a shock to the system, and he's got to roll out something that you've never done before, or in your off season.
Yeah.
right? I mean, where he's going to have y'all, flipping, wheels out in the parking lot or something. I mean,
Mhm.
it, there's a lot of variety that has to be done just so you don't get bored with it. That's half
Yeah.
the battle.
Yeah. And with college athletes, especially college female athletes, everyone's body is completely different. And like, just because like I might be lifting heavier weight, I mean, muscle weighs more than fat. And so I
Yes,
might weigh more, but I'm able to lift more. And like same with Aaliyah Del Rosario. Like it has a bigger body and you might not see the changes that like from the outside, but she is running faster. You just may not be able to tell because you don't full sprint in basketball most of the time. Or she just feels she's not as tired anymore. So it's not just the physical how she looks on the outside, it's how she feels on the inside and how long she's able to go at 100%.
exactly. And look, there's the genetic makeup of it. I've been weight training since I
Mhm.
was 15 years old, and uh, when you see girls who compete in fitness competitions, they're using gear. Okay, um, there's things that they're doing that's some above board, some of it that's given an advantage. That doesn't apply to women's basketball.
Mhm.
Now, what did we see last year? I thought from the end of last season, um, or the year, and then the how Del Rosario had lost a lot of weight.
Mhm.
Um, you can see things like that, but again, it's not going to be like, wow,
Which is
Emily must
right.
be Emily must not be skipping leg day because look how big
Yeah.
her quads have gotten.
Well,
It's
and
not
it's not like I mean, we lift a lot, but we're not heavy lifting every day. We're not lifting every day. You see a lot of that when students get outside of their sport or finish their sport, not even in a sport, where you see kind of a bigger transformation. But also, like we have to eat a lot because we burn so many calories in practice every day, and I mean, obviously, we all eat pretty healthy because we have to, but it's also how much the person buys in and how much they want to see that change too.
And by the way, the only thing I'll get after Thomas about is I would like him to change the pregame ritual because I think how a lot of girls can imitate the Golden Girls. They know the whole word,
Hmm.
right? I think I can do y'all's routine.
Oh yeah, it's been the same for the past 3 years.
The little
I think I
skipping
could
and
still do it like in my sleep, pretty
the little
much.
skipping on the sideline and then
Hmm.
moving one leg over. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
then circle around and then come out and get ready to be introduced with the
Uh-huh.
team.
Yeah.
And then I stand right there in the
It's the
corner and film
same,
y'all.
but hey, they all like Mulkey likes the same warm up though every game. She's done the same thing since Baylor. Thomas does exact. They keep it ritual. I
She
mean,
hugs the
every
coaches. She hugs the
beginning of
coach.
practice.
She shakes
Mm-hmm.
all the assistants' coach's hands. She walks back. Y'all pass her up, walk running out,
Yep.
and she sits in the same chair and
She
crosses her
sits
legs.
and does her arms. Yep.
And they have the one chair next to her that must have a rip because there's a tape over it.
No, that's the one she's supposed to sit in.
The one with the
And
tape.
yeah.
Now
Yeah.
I
Or
just
no,
thought
no,
it was
that's wait.
I
No,
thought
the
the
tape
chair with
is
the
where
tape
the
had
point
rip.
guard. Mm. The tape is where the point guard sits in timeouts because then it's like point guard here and then your guards on this side, posts on this side. So there's a reason for the tape. And then
Okay,
Kim
I
will
just thought the tape.
that's
I
like where
thought the
the
tape was. I thought the tape was
mm-mm,
just ripped vinyl.
mm-mm.
All right, that's
Nope.
awesome. That's awesome. All right, all right. Let's see. Let's dive into some more. We got here. Chicago cheat. I believe the LSU Tigers were bounced back. Christopher Slim, I think there are some real misconceptions with the level of strength and conditioning the LSU has for basketball versus football. I worked with LSU on some of the systems during the Wade days, and it was impressive then. And we don't give the men different systems than the women. The science that they put into not only strength but recovery is very, very impressive. And Mike pointed out, women show their muscles in their shoulders, clavicle area, and lower legs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and heck, we made more improvements when Kim moved in. Yeah, I've never heard anybody question Thomas. If any strength coach is getting questioned on campus, it's the guy over at football, and we get that probably almost weekly on our shows on TigerBait Live. Do you feel the pregame routine is on the same level of the other elite schools' team routines?
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I don't really pay attention to the other routines of the other teams. I mean, especially when I was playing, I wasn't really paying attention. But I mean, every team does what works for them and their system, and you do the same thing for every single game. So of course they've done that for like 30 something games now. And then if you've been on there before, you have obviously done it more. There, I feel like warm up, yes, it's just get you stretched and all of that, but it's also very mental at that point in the game or like before the game. You don't want to wear out the girls out. You don't want to do too much where they're not ready. I think every team just kind of finds what works for them and does it. I'm like personal
I
experience
will
in my
say
high
this.
school. Oh yeah, you can go.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say like personally in my when I played high school, like our warm and my teammates will tell us like we looked horrible in our warm up because we were just kind of out there like 2 line layups doing whatever, but then it like and then we went to the state championship. So it kind of just like whatever works for y'all just kind of works.
I will say this. Last year when LSU hosted South Carolina, I was at the arena that night very, very early. Well, it was day game, right? Was it a Sunday?
It was
No, it was a Thursday night.
no,
It
it
was a
was a
Thursday night.
Thursday. Yeah, 'cause I
Thursday
had to
night.
work.
I was there early, like real early. Like it was a 7 o'clock.
I
I'm pretty
think y'all
sure.
were out there lined up by like 3 p.m. because I
Okay,
had to work in and check y'all in.
but I'll say this. Because I brought it up on my show the next week that Mikaylah and a couple of others were out there shooting around 2 hours before tip off, and you didn't see any of the South Carolinas on that court till 30 minutes before. And I honestly, and I watched Mikaylah work up a sweat and shoot a ton 2 hours before, and I thought that had some effect. I thought she was out there way too early.
Yeah, I will say a lot of the
She
girls.
wasn't the only one. I think
Yeah.
Flau'jae was maybe out there and some others. And I thought, and that was in fact for that game, I thought it was the earliest I'd ever seen players out there shooting around. And her intensity at that time wasn't just half-heartedly throwing it up and kidding around. She was really going for it. And I thought that could have played a factor at the end of that game that night.
Yeah. I will say a lot of the girls, I didn't even think about this. They go out there. I mean, because we have to be on the court an hour before the game. That's when we start our warm up. But a lot of the girls, and they've always done this, will go out there 30 minutes before, even like 45. I mean, an hour in that game, and just literally shoot it or do one drill pull up drills. So that's where I mean, y'all don't see that because they're not really televising it yet. But that's where you get most of the shots up and all of that stuff. It's before we actually start like our game day routine.
Yeah, I'm talking when I was there, it was before the doors opened to let people in the arena.
Public, yeah.
And I was seeing that. And I thought, save some for the game.
Yeah.
But I think that kind of stuff though is you learn as you mature. In Mikaylah's case, she was a freshman at that time. All right.
Sorry, I'm adjusting my screen real quick.
Chris, I'm in favor of routine, especially in pregame, and the tape showed just that level of detail. Her alone says, thank you so much. Thank you for that super chat earlier. Michael Pinnell, routines are about stretching and getting loose. Yes. As a coach, for me, it's about focus. It's about the details, about warming up properly. And yes, there's a such thing of being out there too early. To me, that's when a player gets in their own head. That's a player maybe a waste energy. I noticed that right off the bat that night, and again, I commented on the following week because you did not see any of the Gamecock players out there at all. Now you tell me, you have that auxiliary court. Do sometimes the opposing teams use that auxiliary court that's down below in the basement? Is that even a thing anymore?
No, they only practice on the PMAC.
Well, there you go.
And like for LSU, like you're like South Carolina probably wasn't even there 2 hours before the game. Like,
Yeah.
we were away. We got there an hour and like 15 minutes before, and then had to get ready and change and stuff. And maybe it was her wasting her breath. I mean, sometimes that going out there early is helpful, sometimes not, because if you find your rhythm in shooting, then that's great. But if you can't find it, then you're more in your head because you're like, crap, I'm not shooting very well right now. Like, how's this game gonna go? So I think it could be both good and bad.
See, my thing was like, because a lot of times I get to the arena before Kim does. I mean, I park near
Mhm.
her, and so like, I'm like, oh, she's not there 2 hours before. She gets there like
Oh
an
no.
hour and a half before,
Yeah.
hour before. And I'm like, and because it was like, I wonder if she knew that they were doing this and she's shut it down. Like, y'all,
Kim is in our practice facility before the games. They have cameras watching our warm up, so she definitely knew that they were out there. And like that's the thing too. When we do our warm up, like we might not do too much or whatever, but like we're expected to do everything perfectly. If we miss a layup, she knows about it. If we mess up in the
dang,
in
big
any of the
brother.
drills, she knows, and she'll be like, "Oh, yep, because y'all were goofing off during warm up, and you did this during warm up." So she knows, and she's paying attention. So
Is there a
everything
microphone?
is
What if we're
perfection.
telling jokes and she hears them?
Oh no, there's no. It's just like a camera view on
This is
the
CIA
floor.
stuff you're
Mhm.
alerting us to.
Yeah.
Our big brother everywhere. All right.
Sorry, let's adjust the camera real quick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's two practice on the north side for the women and one for the men in the annex, but the basement is just the dungeon these days. Yeah, what is the dungeon even used for anything now?
The dungeon is volleyball.
There
They
you go.
practice in there. Yeah. But yeah, the men have their practice courts. It's like one long one and then two side if you want, and then ours is the same on the other side by the shack, like by all the statues. And yeah, volleyball's in the annex, the
I used to
basement.
play in the dungeon in the summer for when I attended the LSU basketball camp as a kid.
That's where our biddy ball is for high school or for summer camp too. That's
That
where
was
I'm
me,
always
seventh
at.
grade.
Yeah. I'm
Um,
always with the 3 to 6 year olds. So if y'all want to
Dale
send your
Brown
kid, I'll be
basketball
here.
camp. In fact, Ben McDonald has a photo of him at the Dale Brown basketball camp, and me and
Mm-hmm.
Ben are the same exact age. And we were at the
Oh,
campus. We were at camp that same year,
that's so
and
cute.
we
Oh.
know how that history turned out. All right. All right. I need to pay a bill real quick, and I need to talk about Dykes, the official electrical company of TigerBait.com, and they are absolutely fantastic. You need a brand new 10-story office building, they can wire that. 200,000 square foot warehouse you need built, they can wire that. Expanding your existing commercial building, they can wire that. If you're changing out a breaker, a whole electrical panel, or just receptacle, upgrading the old lining in your home or office, they can wire that. Give them a call today at the number on your screen, 225-216-9180 for a free estimate on your project, and make sure to let them know TigerBait sent you in. Again, great Louisiana company, big and small jobs, commercial, residential. They've done some very, very huge projects in the Baton Rouge area, and they're the best in the business. And huge LSU fans. Support your locally owned electricians over at Dykes Electrical. All right. This Alabama rematch, we're assuming it's going to be Alabama. Let me see if I've got a score right now. Have you seen anything? It's 7-6 Alabama right now in the first quarter, so they're underway. We'll see how that one plays out. Of course, the winner gets LSU tomorrow night at 7:30 in Greenville. Do you think it matters that LSU win tomorrow? I tend to think nationally. You think they're a 3? They get a 3 nationally?
I think they'll get a 3 unless they go all the way. But also I think that if they hopefully they win tomorrow because I think that'll just help them with their maybe not confidence
I
level,
mean, if
but
they
just
lose
kind of
tomorrow,
get
can
in the
they
groove.
drop to a 4?
Oh, I think they're locked in at a 3,
Yeah,
no matter what.
I
Because
think
I
I
mean
think
it's
so as
Alabama
well.
and Alabama's ranked. It's not like it's an unranked team.
But
I mean
I would
even
like
if
to.
it was, but
I'd like to see them win tomorrow without Flau'jae.
yeah.
And I think they can. I think they can.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah. I
look,
think they're at least a 3.
they've had Emily. They've had all week to stew on 2 losses.
Mhm.
And that Ole Miss game got away from them.
Yeah.
What is that like at practice this week?
Well, they played on Sunday. They definitely watched film, or maybe they had off on Monday. No, they probably had off because they don't play until tomorrow. Had off Monday. Did probably a lot of film and stuff on Tuesday. I bet they. This is just me guessing too because
But I'm more
with
like, what
SEC
was the
tournament it's
attitude?
weird. The attitude was probably like, oh crap, we need to get it together. Like this is 2 in a row. We gonna have to like this is postseason play and it's legit. Like we're not just fooling around. Um, they're not to the point where if we lose we're out yet, but it is postseason and it is important and you're getting ready for the mindset of if we lose you're out. So I think the girls are gonna be very focused tomorrow.
So who are you more fearful of on the way to practice at the PMAC? Are you thinking more about Coach Mulkey, or are you worrying more about Coach Starkey?
Um
Is it the same?
Probably both. Yeah. Probably Coach. Well, I was gonna say Coach Starkey in the film work, and then Mulkey on the floor. But Mulkey's also pretty bad in film, or not pretty bad. She gets heated in film, so
But
probably both of them. Probably more Mulkey, but Coach Starkey is also high up on the list.
now, Coach Mulkey obviously is going to be tougher on guards, point guards. She admits that. But is there somebody that Starkey really focuses in on? And is there someone that he knows he can really get after and they're going to take it well? Like I can
Flau'jae.
imagine,
Flau'jae.
Yeah, I was going to say
Mhm.
Flau'jae. I
Yeah.
imagine her taking that coaching real well, but she can also dish it back and have fun.
Yeah. Her and Coach Starkey have a great relationship, and they've always had that. Flau'jae studies her film like no one's business. That girl does a lot in her 24-hour day. Um, but yeah, Flau'jae, I guarantee you she's watched both of those games. Or like, well, I guess she didn't play in the last one, but um, the games that the Alabama game when she didn't play her best, I know she's probably watched that 2 or 3 times. But yeah, Coach Starkey can definitely get on Flau'jae. He gets on his post players. Mulkey gets on everyone. Cause it's funny because she'll start talking with the point guard and then she'll get mad at the post players. She just kind of always, and especially in film after a loss, she points everything out.
Uh, yeah, I was at the top 28 and filmed Caroline Bradley a couple of days ago. And of course, posted her film. That's twice I've posted video of her on our YouTube channel. And one of the comments was, I like her already because she gets the ball down low and she goes straight up, which is something
Mm-hmm.
we've talked about on this show.
Yeah.
She goes straight up,
Mm-hmm.
and got to wait 2 years for her. But going to see interesting if Oak Grove wins that state title. But before that game, got to see while we were waiting for Oak Grove to play, LCA was playing De La Salle and beat them pretty handily. And then looked up in the stands, and there was Jada Richard and Jawan Johnson, and that's another LSU power couple right there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But there we go. More Jada Richard talk and Miracle Shepherd. And I kind of feel like if Jada Richard gets minutes, there's like a over and under of how many minutes is it a game? Is it 3? Is it 4? I think a lot of people, I've talked about it. At this point, it is what it is. But there's been a lot of times this season where I've felt that Jada should get more looks, particularly as the others have struggled.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think, especially now in postseason play, if Mulkey calls your name, it doesn't matter if you have barely played at all up until this point. When she calls your name, you better be ready because this is your one chance. And if she trusts you enough to put you in there and you don't perform, then you're coming right back out. It's like she has you on a tighter string. But yeah, I mean, Jada can step up. I know she can. She's powerful enough. She's smart enough. Miracle's got in there. She's got some good minutes recently. Gets those rebounds. KG, Cheyenne Day Wilson, Poa, all of them. they just need to do their part. And like you said, maybe hopefully one of them has an outstanding game and we can make up for Flau'jae's points. But even if they all just kind of chip away, hopefully we can win a game or two without Flau'jae.
All right, everybody, y'all hit that like button if you're enjoying the show. We're going to get some few more comments and then we'll get out of here. We're going to let Emily get caught up on Traders. We got the finale tonight, and she don't need spoilers, so she better hurry up and get caught up.
I know.
It's gonna be,
I'm watching them on Saturday. I promise.
Well, you better not look at Google or anything.
I'm not on Twitter. Yeah. I'm taking Twitter off my homepage.
Yeah. Let's see here. Eric Jumper, I've been a couple of games this year, and it seems like the players get in their heads a lot when opposing school fans start talking trash. I don't know.
I feel like that one it can be a yes, but also most of the time we don't even hear what anyone's saying unless it's like, I don't know, unless it's some one-off situation. I think if anything, they get in their own heads more than the play. Because most of the time when someone's talking trash, you could be doing it or playing a bad game or something and you're getting your own head. And it kind of just seems like people are yelling at you. Or people will be yelling at you, but you're just more mad at yourself.
Yeah, Teddy replies to Donald, we should have just started Jada from the start and let her bump in her head and learn. She's more talented than the other point guards we have. Cheyenne and Poa are really backups and turnover prone. Look, they've all got little things. I mean, I think looking at what Miracle's done in the last 2 to 3 weeks, I think she's kind of been a little bit of a catalyst and had her moment. They all seem to have little spurts of where they're having their moments and then they falter again. And it's really a broken record that you and I talk about each week. It seems like, you know what the big three can do. And if you could just have, and I think Samaya is kind of elevated a bit more. Again, you'd like to have her, if she could average 10 to 12 points a game, you'd be really excited. And then if you could get some more consistency from Cheyenne or look, we know KG can shoot it and when she gets streaky, but this driving into the paint at her height it's a turnover. I mean, her success rate on that has got to be 1 out of 20.
Yeah.
That's not where she, maybe you want to drive in there and then dish it out, kick it out, but that's not gonna.
Yeah.
And I know that the coaches are all over that.
Working on it. Yeah. So with that, it's almost like she needs to take one less dribble and just pull up before the bigs get to her most of the time.
Yeah.
So, and with the other,
that's why we have you here. You explain it a whole lot better than me meandering around and searching for words.
Yeah, because she gets too deep into the paint and then the post players can just block her. So she does a little pull up from a little further away. She can beat it or just shoot over them.
Exactly. All right. Well, anything you want to add on the way out? Look, I think they can win tomorrow night, but if it's not the end of the world if they don't.
Yeah.
But then tournament time's here. Just need to get Flau'jae over those shin splints. And we, real quick, one of the things we were debating is, I think you got to have her ready for the first round game. I mean, would you wouldn't hold her? You wouldn't hold her back even from that one. She's got to play that game.
She's gonna play that game. Yeah. And I know Flau'jae, and she's not sitting out that game. Yeah, I think you get through this tournament. No matter what happens, if you win, you lose, you kind of just move on because, I mean, it's not the most important tournament of postseason. You still have NCAA, you still have the big show. You just need to walk away healthy, and that's really all that the coaches want is for everyone to walk away healthy.
Look, and they're going to send some good teams here. You can book it.
Oh yeah.
I think back to that first round game against Jackson State. What year was that?
The first year that Kim was here. Kim? Yeah, we barely won that game.
That was a very good team. They brought a great crowd. The atmosphere was fantastic. Everything about that game. It was a fun game, but it wasn't easy. And then, of course, Ohio State was next, and that was the end of that. But that's why I got to get your tickets. folks. As soon as they go on sale, you need to buy them. It's
Mm-hmm.
Tournament time, and the PMAC is fun. So,
It's
all
soon.
right, we're going
so soon.
Yes. All right. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. We'll do it again next week. Emily, thanks as always. And have fun back home in Bossier, and we'll talk next week.
Yep. I'm coming back tomorrow, so we're almost back in Baton Rouge.
All right. Be safe on the highway.
Okay,
All right.
well. Bye everyone.
Good night.
Thank you.